Hey guys, Tom here from A Precise Home Inspection. I am going to show you a little bit about how we inspect dryer vents today. So let me flip my camera around. Alright, so we're here in the mechanical room. We have our dryer vent back here. First we'll just talk about some of the terms. So this is our actual dryer vent. Right here where it transitions and goes into the back of the dryer, that's what we call a transition duct. So a couple things with this that we check for. First of all, we want to make sure that there are no couplings or seams behind there. That should be one continuous piece, and it should not be over 8 feet long. We also just want to check the condition of it. So this one is a little smashed. Then we'll talk about the actual dryer vent. Now, as far as material goes, we want to have something rigid and something smooth on the inner, the inner wall should be smooth. So anything that's got like a corrugated or a foil, those really aren't ideal. They're very susceptible to catching lint or damage, but this is smooth one on the inside and it's nice and stout. So some prohibited items or materials are going to be PVC. And we don't see that very often, but if we do ever see this and it's made out of PVC pipe like this, that's a big concern because the PVC will actually build up a static electricity and it'll cause lint to cling to it. So very likely to cause some lint clogs, which could of course become a fire hazard. Now, in our connections, none of our connections should have screws. We only want to have tape. So we always run our hand over all the accessible connections, make sure there's no screws hiding behind there. Screws could catch lint, and that lint could catch more lint, and so forth and so on until we have a fire hazard. So we'll make sure that we don't have any screws in our connections. So the maximum length of a dryer vent should not exceed 35 feet. However, for every elbow, that number is decreased. So here, this is basically a 90-degree elbow. 90-degree elbows decrease the maximum length by 5 feet, and then there's two 45s right there, and a 45 decreases it by 2.5 feet. So this essentially, instead of 35 feet, this dryer vent right here can only be a maximum of 25 feet. So it is going all the way across this wall, out that exterior wall. So that's certainly over 25 feet. What they did was they put in this booster fan. This black round thing right here is a fan, and this tube goes into the dryer vent and it senses when the dryer turns on. So as soon as that dryer turns on, it's going to activate that fan. That fan's going to turn on. That fan will actually run for about 10 minutes after the dryer shuts off to get all that moisture out of there. So this length is not a concern. Alright, so now that we're on the outside, we'll talk about clearances. So this right there is our dryer vent. So that's the termination point where it's actually exhausting. So let's take a look. Alright, so you want to have 3 feet from the dryer vent to any opening. So this is a stationary panel on the sliding glass door. This one is the one that actually moves. So about right here to that dryer vent is over 3 feet. So we have our 3 feet of clearance from any openings. The next one we're going to talk about is that gas regulator. So dryer vents obviously exhaust very moist air. So we don't want to have a dryer vent blowing directly onto our gas regulator because there's a vent. We don't want that vent to freeze up. So we always make sure that we have 3 feet from the dryer vent termination to the regulator. Next thing is going to be from the dryer vent to an air conditioner condensing unit. We don't have one out here, so we don't have to worry about this, but the big metal box is the outdoor unit for your central air. That's called the condensing unit. We want to have ideally 6 feet from the dryer vent to the condensing unit. Otherwise, those fins on the condensing unit can get clogged because they're pulling in lint particles that are coming out of your dryer. So it just causes a lot of unnecessary cleaning. So we like to see 6 feet between those. And then the last one is when the dryer vent is mounted down low, like when it's mounted right here, we really like to see at least 12 inches from the dryer vent termination to the grade. Alright, those are the basics of how we inspect dryer vents. Thanks for watching.